looking around Fresno for interesting and cool businesses, people doing things for the community, and we stumble upon David Foxx. David does legal services, I guess we could say, wills, trusts, things like that. Tell us about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, thank you for having me on your show.
Sure.
It's a pleasure actually being here.
Now, who should be doing this service? I mean, I'm 61 years old. I don't seem to have a will or anything.
Yeah. So, you know what? Almost everyone needs a will and trust today. And there are a lot of differences between the two of them, but, you know, really being used as an asset or a tool to actually help people set those up and, you know, have a process to where it's so painless. You know, it's almost as a lead as you go. We use a cloud-based service.
Nice.
That allows us to kind of go as you're you know, doing the service. So when you have the time, you go in and you start developing your will, and I'm actually used as the asset to kind of get you along the way.
So you have a tool that you use to type in all the info, and used to be you have to go to an attorney. They'd start it from scratch and type it out, charge you so much a word, it costs you tens of thousands of dollars to get a will done. But things have changed, right?
Correct, absolutely, especially in today's climate. We've definitely gotten to a platform to where it's now more like like if you ever used a tax cut software or something like that, it's like a plug and shoot kind of thing. And once you get to a spot where you're like, hey, maybe I'm not really good with technology, I'm not sure how that works, yeah. You know, that's when I come into play. I kind of come on and show you and guide you how to get that done for you. But it's actually streamlined, so we're not spending, you know, $1,500, $3,000, $4,000 on the will and trust process.
So
it's
now
actually much more affordable.
The person, the consumer, actually gets to type stuff in themselves, or do you do all that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
so I guide them on their way. We actually do Zoom calls in this current climate, and we can end up doing to where we can show them our computer and show them how we would set it up on our side,
okay.
And also show them how they can do it on theirs. And also, you know, we can set up direct appointments to where we can do it together, so we can help upload documents and have everything in one location. So it's really important today that you know, often when someone ends up passing away, they've got boxes and boxes of material, yeah. And no one knows really what to do with it or where to find stuff. So having one location to where they can find stuff and actually working with an attorney to describing what type of will and trust that you need would be very important. So we facilitate that to happen and coordinate with an attorney, but not having to pay always the high attorney fee.
We were saying earlier before the show started, you're not an attorney, but you're more of a guide, a guide through this system.
Excellent. Yes, I actually want to be a resource for individuals, and my services come free of charge. Right?
Nice.
So all I'm doing is just kind of getting people the idea of setting one up. And, you know, I even saw a quote the other day that 61% of people who have, you know, children don't have a will.
Yeah.
And simple things that they don't know really can hurt them. You know, even like the difference is like, what is a will and trust? Many people have no idea. So like the easiest way to really describe it to someone is like if you've ever moved a home or if you've ever moved from one location to another, sometimes they have those little pods that you can get to sit on your, you know, in front of your house or whatever. You can stick your refrigerators, your couches, TVs, everything that's, you know, valuable to you. You can stick it in this container, and then a truck can come and actually move it to your new location. And that's kind of what a trust is, because a trust actually is this open container that you're putting all of your valuables. You're putting all of your finances, all of your online accounts, you're putting all of your assets or investments in all of your properties. That's going to actually move with you. So it's important to have a living trust. So therefore it can always live, because as we get older, we'll obtain new goods and maybe properties in other states. And if it's actually just set in a simple will, if you have properties in other states, that'll actually be cut in what's called probate. So we want to avoid as many taxes as we can and make sure all of your assets go to your beneficiaries instead of being tied up in probate or litigation.
Now, I can tell you probably have some horror stories too, but people who went ahead and died without a will, nobody really plans on dying, it's a problem, but and I've seen families break up over this, and not over tens of millions of dollars. Some people think, I don't have anything, I don't need a will. And I saw somebody there, the family fought over this table that went in the living room. It's almost like a card or a poker table or something. The whole family split up because they're all fighting over gets mom's table. And
Yeah, over really simple,
yeah.
small things that
Like I
were
say,
never
not
supposed to
millions
get
of
in the way.
dollars or anything like that. It was just over the little knick-knacky things. So
Yeah, you can't put a price on, tangible things that have a lot of sentimental value.
right.
And so, like, having a will and trust is very important to be able to do that. Like, you want to be able to pass your assets on to your family, and show them how to do that in a way to where it won't be owned by the government. Like, for example, if you pass away here in the state of California and you don't have a will and trust, it's actually assigned a person that's supposed to come in and magically know where all of this stuff is supposed to go.
Yeah.
And it gets in front of a judge, and then it goes into probate. So the state of California taxes all of this process. And here in the state, we've actually got the longest process of probate anywhere in the country. So it's usually around 18 months to year and a half. I've seen even 2 years in place.
Wow.
But even wealthy people we've seen recently, like Prince, that passed away, Aretha Franklin that passed away, like no wills,
Oh boy.
no trust, and the families are still locked away in probate.
Well, let
So
me
it's
ask you
just
this. I think I'm getting this a little bit. A will in itself, you can assign where things go, but a trust avoids probate.
Correct.
You put everything you own into the trust, your house, your cars, or
Yes, absolutely. So a trust, you actually are the trustee. So until you end up getting where you pass away or get incapacitated in some manner, you can assign a person who's going to take over the trust. That individual now actually has the right to distribute it based on what your will wants it to go into and how the trust was written, but it no longer goes to the state first. Now, since it goes to the trust, the family owns all of the assets that are there.
so there's
Let's
no
say you
probate
still
at all?
have- I'm sorry?
There's no probate at all?
No, you can actually avoid most probates if everything is set up through a trust. Like
Right.
if the trusts are properly structured to where the trust is named as the beneficiary, then absolutely no probates will actually come out of that trust. So and that's a huge benefit.
Now, let's say we sign up with this service, which you're just kind of our guide to help us, because I've never done anything like this in my life. You
Correct.
help guide us through this. At some point, does a lawyer take a look at it?
Absolutely. So once we can help you guide through the will process, actually when we start getting towards the end of the will, it's going to be directed to where you're talking directly with an attorney.
Okay.
So the attorney is going to meet with you. We can either do Zoom or Facebook Live or Skype, so however is more beneficial for the client. And we actually walk them through the process. And there are several different types. There may be special needs children in the family. There may be irrevocable or revocable trusts that are needed. There are so many different types, and depending on how many properties you have, whether it's just local or in different states or different family members or what needs that are there. Like, for example, if you have small children, if something were to happen to you, like they would have to decide whether they actually give it to this child when they're 12 years old. Now, someone having thousands of dollars as a 12-year-old probably isn't going to make very wise decisions versus someone who's older, like maybe 20 or 25. But you can actually put those wishes inside a trust.
Okay.
You can say all of my assets I want to be able to be liquidated or actually be given to my children, but I don't want them to have full access until they're at a certain age. And you can have like support money coming to them. Every year you have support money coming out of the trust, and then maybe a lump sum is available to them once they get older. But take in mind, all of this will come to them by avoiding the probate process. And in much cases, especially if a life insurance or an asset is tied to it, all of that money will come to them tax-free.
Wow.
So that's a huge benefit.
Right.
But just simply having a will, you won't avoid most of the probate process.
Okay.
It will definitely show where the assets go, and the judge will say, okay, according to the will, this is where the assets want to go. However, it still has to go through probate. Some people will make grave mistakes. Like they'll say, okay, we bought this house 20 years ago, maybe for $100,000, and today it's worth $500,000 or $600,000. So now I just want to give it all to my children. Now, if you give it to your children out of that will without it going through a trust, they'll have to pay capital gains on all of that money that it's now worth.
Maybe 400,000 or something.
Correct.
So,
That's a huge burden on most families. So having that trust avoids all of that. And it's so simple and so cost effective now, even using a small platform like this, because you keep all of the information.
Right.
Imagine pictures that you want or traditions that you want. You can leave videos on a cloud service that is released to them every year on their birthday. I mean,
Nice.
you can leave sentimental things that are left to them, as well as protecting all of your assets.
Well, what I find attractive about this is that when I go to my attorney, when I walk in his office, he turns the clock on, and he's charging me, and I'm digging through documents and papers and stuff. It seems like what this does is gets you through all the primary stuff without the attorney on the clock. And
exactly. So here's the difference. I am a non-captive agent. So I work with several different companies that allows us to actually pick the best plan that's suitable for each person. Every person that I meet with is going to have a different need, a different asset, a different classification. So finding the one that's best for the client really puts me into position to where I no longer work for one firm or one company. I now work for my client.
Right.
And that's the best thing I've found about this company at all. Like, I hope that I'm used as a tool for many things to come. But even seeing horror stories in the past about even little things like I mentioned before, the Central Valley Talk, they had some homes that were actually being up for sale. I kept thinking, that's great. Like, have those homes once they're purchased, inside a will or trust. But even using the lot number instead of the address, that's so crucial. And most people don't think about that. They think, oh, this is my property, this address, but you need to tie the lot number to that.
You have to have the whole legal description. What, now somebody's watching this and saying, wow, this makes sense. I want to find out more. Where do they start? Do they go to a web page or just call you up? What's the best way?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a web link you should be seeing on your screen somewhere. If not, you can definitely reach out to me. My phone number is 559-978-2957, and I'll be able to explain everything as far as the companies that we work with and answer questions on what they have, because it's very difficult to cover all of the aspects in the conversations we have today. Just to think about, like, $80 billion right now in assets that are available in all of the states throughout the U.S. are now going unclaimed because beneficiaries have no idea that they were left something.
Right.
But there just wasn't a will to actually direct it to them. So we've got to do a better job of just educating people and showing how affordable it is to really have a one-time cost that will set them up for the rest of their lives.
We're going to watch a video in a minute, but before, I want to just give out the web address for those listening and not watching. WFG protectmorefamilies.com/David Foxx. That's Foxx, by the way. Or just go to davidfoxceo@gmail.com. Or better yet, just call them up direct, 978-2957. If you're watching or listening and you can't write that down, call me here at Central Valley Talk. I'll give you David's direct phone number, if that's all right, David.
Thank you, Mike. Absolutely.
Let's watch this video, then I might have a couple more questions when we come back.
Please.
It's not the promises we make that mean the most to our family. It's the promises we keep. We get it. Life is crazy. But a promise made is a promise kept when you fulfill an important responsibility, your estate plan. It's your set of instructions and wishes for your children, for your property, and for your medical decisions. It keeps important details from being left to chance or made without your approval. It determines if there will be clarity and confidence, or if there will be conflict and confusion, which can lead to disputes in court, an uncertain process that can be long, expensive, and painful. My Basic Estate from Legacy Shield is simple, secure, smart estate planning. It helps you get your plan done affordably, at home, at your own pace, and without errors, thanks to a proven AI-driven system. And for clients who need a bit more expertise, access to over 70 attorneys in the Legacy Shield Professional Network is always available. With My Basic Estate, you'll create your last will and testament, medical and financial powers of attorney, advance directive, and HIPAA authorization. These core components give you a strong foundation to protect you and your family. During the process, you will appoint your team to carry out your wishes with an intuitive workflow that ensures the right information gets to the right people at the right time. My Basic Estate is rich with other benefits, beginning with secure lifetime storage, where your digital estate plan documents are easily accessible, and where you can add all your other important documents, like financial and insurance policies. You can document your final instructions for your loved ones, record life lessons, funny moments, and heartfelt memories to a digital diary, Store your credentials for important online accounts. Organize and view your financial accounts in one central location, and even calculate and explore life insurance and retirement needs. Getting your estate plan done is a responsibility that has been neglected by millions, even by some you wouldn't have guessed. Don't leave your heirs with a mess that could take years or even decades to sort out. Protect your legacy with My Basic Estate. It's affordable, it's simple, it's convenient. With Legacy Shield, a promise made is a promise kept. Click Create Your Estate Plan to get started now.
Wow, the most striking thing in the videos is all the names they put up of people who died without a will.
I hear you. Exactly.
Abraham Lincoln, Sonny Bono, Howard Hughes, but those are in the days when you had wills. This life estate is kind of a newer tool that even I didn't know about. I pay attention to stuff, but it sounds like it's really the way to go. It's going to save you money now, and it's going to save your kids or your heirs money later on, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, getting a document that is signed, legal bonding, and will be actually administered by a judge when you're passed away to make sure that your desires and assets are all going out exactly where you want them.
Yeah. What a change technology's made in our lives. It's
I
cheaper
agree.
to live.
I
It's
agree.
way cheaper to die, that's for sure. And so now people are all cooped up now because of the coronavirus. Do they have to wait till that's over to start working on this, or can they call you now?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, that's the great thing about society today. It's like almost everything is digital, including this process.
So you're going to do it at
even
home.
the final,
You don't need to
I'm
go
sorry?
meet with an attorney. They don't need to go meet with you. They can stay at home and stay safe.
Yep, even at the final step of actually making sure that it's documented. So what happens, the documents will actually be printed up and you'll send it to the attorney, and you'll both actually get on a Skype and you'll be signing it together.
Nice.
So it basically is very, very beneficial, and it's efficient. You don't have to worry about waiting and scheduling out hours of time throughout your day to get this stuff done. But it's really go at your own pace. And I usually follow up every week or so just to see if they need any more help to get it done, because I can also see progress and if they get stopped in any one place or not. I can definitely help with the technology part of it as far as uploading documents. It's very simple once you see it a few times.
Very good. Well, David, we are out of time, but David Foxx, estate planning, he's a financial professional. He's even a certified field trainer in this, and he could set you up with the program to type in all your stuff, all your assets, and get them into this living trust. Do it from your own home. Do it without catching coronavirus. But you have to get a hold of David Foxx. It's Foxx, by the way. David Foxx at gmail.com. Call him at 559-978-2957. David, anything else you want our viewers to know?
No, it's just a pleasure actually being on your show, Mike. My email address, like you said, davidfoxceo at gmail.com. My phone number, 559-978-2957. All of the consultations are absolutely free, so definitely reach out. It's good to have a conversation to talk about what the future may look like, and definitely set you up for that.
As we like to say here on Central Valley Talk, it's free to find out. So find out from David Foxx. We will be back with more Central Valley business right after this.
Thank you, Mike.